All right, so are you ready? Let's jump right into this crazy market day. We got a ton to cover today.
Yeah, sounds good. What do we have?
Looks like a whole pile of market summaries, our usual, plus some really interesting stock analyses and some global news too. That looks like it could impact things.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that global stuff can definitely throw a curveball sometimes. So what's the mission for today's deep dive?
Well, I think we got to figure out not just what's happening, but like why. What's really driving these moves.
Yeah, agreed. Got to get beyond those headlines.
Exactly. So we can make some, informed decisions, whether we're trading or just keeping an eye on our 401ks.
Exactly. Especially with all this craziness going on. I mean, did you see Broadcom pre-market?
Oh yeah, AVGO is up like what, 21% already? Isn't that insane?
Huge. And they totally crushed those earnings expectations. And, everyone's buzzing about their AI revenue growth.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. So the revenue's up 51% year over year. But it's that AI part, 220% growth.
Yeah.
And everybody talking.
Yeah, no doubt. AI chips are like the future of tech. I think everyone's starting to realize that.
Yeah. And one of the sources called it the stock to watch today, highlighting that AI growth. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to argue with those numbers.
Right.
They were saying to keep an eye out for a pullback, to buy in at a better price. But then I'm thinking, what if it just keeps going up? What if I miss out?
Yeah, that's always the risk, right? Waiting for that perfect dip. But remember, one day doesn't tell the whole story.
True.
I mean, Broadcom's fundamentals were already solid. This just amplifies it.
Right.
So don't just chase hype. Do your own research.
Okay, good advice. So AI is definitely like the hot topic today.
Yeah.
But we got to look at the whole market, right? What's the big picture look like?
Yeah, for sure. So let's check out those major U.S. indices. It's kind of a mixed bag, actually. The SPY, which tracks the S&P 500,
Yeah.
slightly down. And the DIA, following the Dow Jones, that one's down a bit more. But here's where it gets interesting. The QQQ, tracking the NASDAQ, heavy on the tech stocks, that one's actually up today.
Really? So tech is doing well, even with the rest of the market, kind of iffy. I mean, Broadcom is killing it, and we've got other AI companies like NVIDIA, AMD seeing gains. So what gives?
Yeah, it is a bit of a puzzle, right? But sometimes investors react to other things, like global economic worries. For example, did you hear about the UK?
Not recently, no.
Their economy just reported back-to-back contraction, like the first time since 2020.
Wow, back to back. That's got to be rough.
Yeah, not good.
I did see something about rate cuts in Australia, too. Is that related?
It could be. A slowdown in one region can definitely impact demand globally.
Yeah.
And decisions by central banks, like Australia's Reserve Bank, setting those interest rates, that can send ripples all over.
So even though we're, U.S. focused,
Mhm.
you got to watch what's happening internationally.
Oh, absolutely. It's all connected. The global economy is like this giant spider web.
Right. So one little tug can, mess up the whole thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay. So we've got this AI boom, broader markets trying to figure itself out. And we've got like whispers of trouble across the pond. But I wanted to bring up some of those like more colorful stories we saw today, like, about the soccer teams.
Oh, yeah. What was that about?
Manchester City and Manchester United, right?
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that headline.
Yeah. So they're rivals, right? Same
Yeah.
league. But their financial stories are totally different.
Yeah, how does that work?
Manchester City announced record profits, and Manchester United's reporting a loss. Like a big loss. How is that even possible? They're playing the same game.
It really shows you, even within the same industry, right? Financial management, player investments, the overall strategy can have such different outcomes. It's like two chefs using the same ingredients, but ending up with like completely different dishes.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Now another one. This one's about St. James's Place, or SJP. They dropped this fund manager, Impact's Asset Management. And Impact's stock like plummeted 24%.
Wow.
It's crazy. One fund manager change has that kind of impact.
Well, it's not just about the manager themselves. It's like this whole rise of ESG investing, environmental, social, and governance, More and more investors want their money to align with their values.
Right. So it's like a statement.
Exactly. So when a big firm like SJP drops a manager, it sends a message about their ESG commitment,
So it's not just personnel. It's like a bigger trend.
Yeah, ESG is becoming a major force in finance. It's not just a niche thing anymore.
So even if you don't, follow soccer or invest in those companies, these stories show how everything's connected. Like seemingly small things can have huge consequences.
Totally. And speaking of big things happening, did you see Bitcoin?
Oh yeah, Bitcoin's back over 100,000. again.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
It's wild, right? I think it's a bunch of things coming together. But that mainstream acceptance is growing. Like the SEC approving those Bitcoin ETFs,
Yeah.
including BlackRock's offering. That's a sign that the big players are taking it seriously.
So it's not just for, the risk takers anymore.
Right, exactly. And while, we should always be cautious with crypto, it's getting harder to ignore.
For sure. For sure. Things are definitely changing. And speaking of changes, gold and silver are down today,
Ah, interesting.
with Bitcoin surging. Could they be connected?
It's possible some investors might be seeing Bitcoin as that alternative safe haven, especially when things are uncertain.
So instead of going to gold when they get nervous, they're going to Bitcoin.
Maybe. It's definitely a trend to keep an eye on.
And we can't forget about oil either. Prices are going up again.
Yeah, I saw that. What's driving that?
A lot of analysts are blaming it on that instability in the Middle East.
Yeah. Makes sense. Geopolitics always impacts the markets, and oil is particularly sensitive. It's a reminder that we got to understand global events if we want to understand the financial world.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot to keep track of. AI, global economies, ESG, crypto, oil, and even soccer. It's crazy.
It is. It's never a dull moment in finance, that's for sure. But hey, that's why we do these deep dives, right?
Yeah, we try to, make sense of it all.
Exactly. Break it down and figure out what it all means. So it's not just about knowing what happened today, but about seeing those trends that'll shape the future.
Right. Help us, invest a little smarter.
Exactly.
Well, you've definitely given me a lot to think about today. It's been amazing.
Glad to hear it. And remember, to everyone listening, stay curious, stay informed,
Yeah.
and, stay ahead of that curve.
And maybe grab some pizza while you're at it.
Always a good idea.
All right. We'll be back soon with more deep dives to help you navigate the world of finance.
Until then, happy investing. Yeah, it's like a puzzle, right? It's trying to figure out where all the pieces fit.
Exactly. And speaking of pieces fitting together, I saw Tesla's up again today, like over 2%. They're always doing something interesting.
They sure know how to make headlines, don't they?
Yeah.
They've had an amazing year, up over 70%, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of that's driven by that strong demand for those electric vehicles.
Yeah, they're really dominating that market.
Definitely.
But it's not just the cars anymore, right?
Yeah.
They're making progress with that self-driving stuff too.
Right.
And investors are excited about it. Self-driving cars still feel kind of futuristic to me, but I guess Tesla's making it happen.
They're really pushing the boundaries, And I think investors are drawn to that, like companies that disrupt industries.
Speaking of disrupting industries, what about Palantir? They're up almost 1% today. And there's talk about them joining the NASDAQ 100.
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal if it happens.
It is. So the NASDAQ 100 is like, what, the best of the best?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like the all-star team of the stock market. Those 100 largest non-financial companies on the NASDAQ, getting in there is a sign of prestige.
Right. And it probably attracts more investors too, right?
Absolutely. Being in a major index like that often means you're included in more mutual funds and ETFs, so you get a broader investor base. And that can really drive up demand for your stock.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about bragging rights.
No, not at all. It's a real financial advantage.
Makes sense. Okay, last company I wanted to mention, Costco, solid as always, up over 1% after beating those earnings estimates. They just keep chugging along no matter what.
Costco is a classic example of a company with strong fundamentals. They deliver good earnings consistently, they have a loyal customer base, and their business model is pretty resilient even when the economy is not doing so great.
People always got to eat, right? And Costco has those deals that keep people coming back.
Exactly. That's their magic. They create an experience that keeps customers engaged, and that translates into good performance for investors.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot today. Broadcom's AI success,
Mm-hmm.
Tesla's self-driving ambitions, the UK's economy, the NASDAQ 100, and of course, Bitcoin hitting that 100,000 mark again. It's a lot to take in.
It is. It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
But it shows how dynamic the markets are. It's a constantly changing, interconnected system.
Yeah, I would do these deep dives to try and break it all down, right?
Exactly. Trying to make
Yeah.
sense of it all. So it's not just about knowing what happened today, but about understanding the trends that'll shape the future.
Right. And hopefully, make us all a little bit smarter about our investments.
That's the goal, to
Yeah.
give you the knowledge and insights you need to navigate this world.
Well, I feel like I've learned so much today. Thanks for being our guide through all this.
My pleasure. Always happy to dive into these topics with someone as curious as you.
Well, I love a good market mystery. And to everyone listening out there, stay curious, stay informed, and don't be afraid to take your own deep dives into the financial world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It really makes you think, how AI is going to change everything.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty wild to think about. It's not just about, robots taking over. It's about how AI can impact like every part of our lives,
Mhm.
from healthcare to education to finance, like you said.
Right. It's crazy. But, thinking about the future, it's good to remember what we've talked about today, right? All this stuff, from Broadcom's success with AI to those global economic worries, from ESG investing to Bitcoin going crazy, it's been a lot.
It has been a lot. Yeah, we've covered a ton of ground today. But I think the main takeaway is that there's always more to the story than you see at first. Whether it's the AI boom or global economies struggling or even just a fund manager change, it's all connected.
Yeah. It's like peeling back those layers of an onion.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. We're trying to uncover those hidden trends and forces that are shaping the world.
Right. And if we understand those trends, we can make better decisions,
Mm,
whether we're, big-time investors or just trying to figure out our own financial future.
exactly. Knowledge is power, right?
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for being our expert today. It's been a real eye-opener.
Glad to be here. Always enjoy these conversations.
Me too. And to everyone listening out there, keep learning, keep exploring, and who knows, maybe you'll make some exciting discoveries yourself.
Yeah, happy investing, everyone.
See you next time.